and stuff, but anyway. That's not in the March, and- Okay. He said, yeah, that's interesting. He's great. So I'm gonna talk to him more than maybe about mystery things.
Yeah, I sent it in the text. Oh, I didn't. I figured it was close then.
I said, Mr. Manager, are you gonna just wait? for
Guys,
them?
We're live now?
Huh?
We're live.
Okay, we're live.
And you got these.
Hey, why can't you guys come to City Hall? Huh? What's the story? No, I don't know. I don't care. How you doing? Are you muted, Kelly?
Kelly's not.
No, I'm not.
Okay, are you Meg? You are Meg.
No, I'm not.
Okay, so there's four of us. The reason is because Scott's out of town. There are only six of us. Scott's out of town. PJ couldn't make the meeting. Drink those juices, Meg. And Meg is sick and you're home for whatever reason, but we have four people. So we're the same now as PJ would have been recusing himself anyway because of what we found out last month for New Way. And I don't know if we have any other conflicts. Do you know if we do?
I don't believe we do.
Okay, so we are not presenting a full board no matter what, so people can, at any point throughout it, start to talk to us and say, wait, I want to have you postpone it until we have 5 members. Okay? You get that, Kelly, you're all set with that? Okay, so some of them aren't so bad. Do you know anything more about the city and what they're doing? Are they coming or anything, or we don't know?
I don't believe they are.
Right, okay, so just to go over a couple of things, New Way Car Wash, well, let me go by the agenda, I guess. Okay. The first item on the agenda, and I think I'm just gonna keep them as they are, is Scott Barcombe, Class B area variance to construct an addition to a home. All the setback variances are because are pre-existing. What's that? It's my fault. Go ahead. Okay, all of the setback variances are from pre-existing, as far as I can tell, pre-existing non-conforming uses, correct? Like the 7-foot front yard and all that.
Yes, that's pretty.
None of their additions even are creating any of those setback issues.
Not creating that setback issue, but it's a portion of it is within that front yard. The setback requirement off of both
Okay, so,
Flagler and Prospect is 25 feet. And on the Flagler side, this addition will be 15 feet.
is the Flagler side.
But that's still 8 feet further back than the front of the house is already.
Right. But it's 19 on one side, on the Flagler side. What is it? Oh, you're saying that the 7 feet plus whatever it is it's, well, no, because it's still a combination, isn't it? No. Explain it to me what you're saying, just so.
So here is your front yard. This is supposed to be 25 as well.
There's only one side yard, Ron.
This new part is going to be in the front yard setback by a few feet.
Not very much, right? Do we know?
Your other diagram showed that as 8 feet.
Yeah.
So 7 and 8 is 15. That's what you're.
It's not right.
Oh, it's 15 feet from the front
So
yard.
it's gonna
on
be-
Flagler.
It's going to be 19.
19 from the front yard when 25 is required, right?
I'm sorry. Yeah, 19 feet.
And 25 is
Yes,
required.
correct.
But the existing house is at 7.
Yes.
So I guess my point is that the setbacks are either pre-existing problems or don't make it worse than what the whole
That
house
side of
is,
that. shot.
right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Relative to setbacks, the real issue is.
The real issue is coverage. They're
Is
already slightly over on coverage.
But it's gonna be, this is showing 25%
Those numbers
required,
are off.
Huh?
Those numbers are off for
the coverage.
Yep.
What is it actually then? Not
It's
25?
more like 28. Existing 28%, and with the additional, bring it to 31%.
Okay. And the story is that these people,
The story I got from them today was that this is like a 3-season porch. They want to convert it into living space and make it bigger because they've inherited grandkids because their daughter
they've
passed
had
away.
some family
Yeah,
passing away and their grandparents, right?
yes.
And they have inherited from the passed away parent, the grandchildren, and need more room. That's why they want.
That's the brief version I got today. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I don't have a problem with any of the setbacks, and I don't care about the coverage and any of that, frankly.
Well, the coverage with the addition turns out to be like 2.7% more than what it is already.
Well, and Scott would say that's about 10%. But
He would,
no, I'm
yeah.
saying that's
No,
that
I
other
understand.
math.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's 2.7% more than what it is now.
272 square feet.
So can I just ask for some clarity on this real quick?
Sure.
So it says that they want to build a 14 by 32, right? The 14 by 32, yeah. And then the paperwork that we got recently shows the existing house. It states a portion of the home to be demolished and new added constructed.
Right.
There's 3 rectangles there. I'm just trying to make heads or tails out of this. I can't really
It'll
tell.
be the rectangle closest to the garage that protrudes out from the house towards the garage.
Yes.
That's going to be taken down, and that's where that 14 by 32 is going to be added. Right where that is, just bigger.
So there's. Okay. Oh, I see what I'm looking at now.
Where the existing addition is, they're taking that down and they're making something slightly bigger.
So the part that has both the cross tags going both ways or hashtag,
Actually,
that's the original.
Yes.
And then the ones that have just the one line is the new.
that's all they're adding.
Okay, I was looking at the other part where it showed the 14 and then the 32. I'm like, what the hell?
It's gonna
Okay,
end up
I
being-
follow.
Okay.
I'm like, that's huge. No, we're good.
I get that. That was my
Does
initial
anybody
thought
have-
too.
What's that?
I get it.
Right. Does anybody have a question about it or a problem with it?
No, not anymore.
Okay, so they're first, and I want to just frankly, get them done. I don't have any problem with it, and I didn't have a problem with it before I heard this story this morning about what their reasoning for needing it, which made it completely not an issue for me, frankly. You know, sometimes you say to people, well, you've outgrown your house. This is a little different. This has been thrust upon them. I guess is the best way to say it. So that's Barcone. The next one.
I just sent you guys all a picture of it.
What's that?
I just sent you all a picture of that. We'll post it during the meeting, but just so you have it for reference.
Okay. The
Okay.
next one is Nick Young Arno, 104, but that's, I think, the person who's gonna run
Yes.
the thing. So this is, we gave a long time ago, a special use permit. This is, Fountain and Lucas store, okay?
Yep.
And we gave a permit and we didn't care about the parking, so none of that applies really anymore. It would apply if they were gonna expand the size of it. It's exactly the same building and square footage that we approved before. The only difference is that they're changing from an ice cream stand to a hairdresser, which is probably less traffic, if anything. And so what this is really, it's certainly not gonna have any more of an impact on the neighborhood or affect anything. So this is really is a matter of right, and especially when you consider that we did it for exactly this size space. nothing has changed about, it's a neighborhood convenience store, parking has not changed, correct? Would you agree?
Yeah, there is no separate parking calculation requirement for this. So in 2008, a special use permit was
Right,
granted for neighborhood convenience plus an area variance for 6 parking spaces.
right,
So this hair salon does not require more parking than the store would.
right. Now, I know New Way is on the list next, so we'll talk about that, even though in our packet, whatever, Zappa was in. But anyway, New Way, we talked about, they postponed because when PJ realized that he had a conflict, we were only down to 4, we're back again to 4, one of whom is Ellie, who didn't see it last time. We have some correspondence. They have said that they want to come and at least talk about it, if they feel like it's not going their way. They've been to the planning board, who has dealt with a bunch of questions that we had previously about the noise, and about how the fence works and all of their stuff and the stacking. And my understanding is that the planning board is happy with the stacking arrangement, that they followed all the guidelines and with what they've said. So that's, you didn't see this, but if you looked at it and stuff,
No, I didn't realize that it wasn't in this packet. When I read through it, I just saw this and was confused by it. And now I realized that it was probably in the
Last
last
packet.
month's packet. So all I've looked at is this, which I now realize is,
right, and
that's why it was so small, is because I was
Right.
missing from last time, so.
the biggest issue seems to be, and there's, I didn't know if there was precedent or not, and Joe says that most of them are pre-existing. But I know that one was done for Walgreens,
Yes, that's true.
and I'm talking about what was done was allowing a drive-through business.
Ah.
Okay, the issue is really, I guess, it's like every other neighborhood that we see where there's something that's not that great. When I moved to Couch Street, the college was all around me. I knew it. I bought the house. I can't go, wait, now there's college around me. I didn't know that. And I think it's in a sense the same with all those residential areas that back up against Burger King and all of that side of Route 3. That was part of it. Just,
Sorry.
oh yeah, just like if you're up on Trafalgar, you hear the Northway.
So
mean-
I agree with you to a point, Ron, that when you're gonna buy a house on the backside of a business district, you have to expect business. I absolutely agree with that. I am so sorry.
Yeah.
But I also, just as a hypothetical, if I bought a house knowing that there was a Burger King or a grocery store or something, I can expect a certain amount of noise. But if I bought a house and then suddenly there was I don't know, a dog shelter with barking dogs all the time, like there's a difference in the noise. And that's the part that really concerns me is I know how loud that car wash is and I'd be,
Right, I don't know how loud it is, but I know that also comes under planning board
I don't know.
fiction for them to figure out how to do a buffer that stops it. And it's also under the details for how they build the building. I don't think, as much as it could be under our jurisdiction, I think that it's pretty hard to say with all the drive-through businesses around it, this one can't have that. I think it's probably less noisy, frankly, than the constant chatter 24 hours a day of the drive-through speaker boxes. On Burger. No, I'm really serious. I went up. I also did go up, if you're one of those people, got out of my car at the car wash across the street. And then I also pulled over in the back, the road that goes around the Aldi parking lot, and got out and listened while it was operating. And I didn't find it very, I'm just, of course, I may not be the best one to talk about what's noisy or not, but no, I didn't do it with it. So, but it just doesn't seem that loud to me. But anyway, we can talk about it. People have their opinions, whether they like it or don't like it or whatever. And at some point, if the applicant feels it's going their way or not going their way, they can say, we want to come back for a full board. I don't know if I'm just more used to it, and I think that one of the things to look at, and we did go through this with Walgreens, very specifically, when Walgreens came and they had and it's actually one of these, maybe I've said this before, this is why I ended up on zoning, because I was coming to get a drive-through business for Boynton Avenue Kinney's in 1999. So my construction company, and John Clute said, why don't you think about being in zoning? But it was because I was coming to this very thing, and it doesn't matter if that drive-through thing is 200 feet, but it's property line to property line, so that none of them, no matter what, whether if you were 200 feet into the property with that drive-through window, it wouldn't matter because it's property line to property line. So, anyway, that's New Way, and they can decide what they want to do with the 4 people. They know that there are only going to be 4 people there, so they want to come, right?
Yes.
Zafra is an extension request, and now I'll get to the other exciting, really exciting news, is that we've discovered that perhaps we have a different method of dealing with not only special.
Kind of like when we
the
found
fence.
that issue with the fence.
Right, when we found out we could give special use permits for the fence, this is what we found out. The city came to us and said, we want an 18-month extension, which we've never given, first of all. Secondly, they hadn't expired. As a matter of fact, the clock hadn't even started ticking in what we thought was going on. We thought, first of all, we thought that it was from when we granted it, but then we said, oh, wait, it's been extended because there's litigation going on, so it hasn't started ticking. Then we reread the law, and we got this letter from Charlie about we want the 18-month extension, which probably wasn't appropriate, even if what we found out was true, because we've never granted one, and especially because no clock was ticking. But I went to, Charlie copied Corey. So I talked to Corey, who actually is not our lawyer anymore, because the city paid Corey, and he closed the file, but he graciously gave me free advice about this, and he says, no, I don't believe they expire. And upon rereading, and Joe and I and Dean Sneller collaborating a little bit, the story is that when we take an action, whether it's a special use permit, a variance, when the planning board does a historic review or site plan review, and it lists a bunch of them, there is no expiration to those things until the applicant gets a building permit. So if somebody gets a special use permit from us or a variance, all these extensions and this talk about, we'll give it to you for a year so that you can get the permit next year, that's out the window.
It's not necessary.
Not necessary. The only thing that triggers a 6-month time frame is when the zoning and building permit, which is what they call the building permit, is issued, not when they apply, when it's fully
When
issued.
it's issued.
And then 6 months start. So during that 6 months, they have to start construction from when they get the permit. If they don't start construction within 6 months, substantial start, then they need a new permit, and they need to come back to us to have the original action extended.
Yes.
Not that we wouldn't extend it anyway, we've never not extended one.
No, but we have 2 really good examples on the agenda tonight. One is Prime. They've not gotten a building permit. They haven't applied because they're in litigation. And so they haven't been issued a building permit. So their special use permit is still
It's not
valid.
expired and won't expire.
It won't
until they
expire
do.
until then. So, but then we have Zafra, this other one that Ron started talking about. They got a special use permit and then they got a building permit. And it's my understanding that they did not perform the work on the building permit, and the building permit expired. That was in 2019. So this is a good example of both of them expiring.
Right, so now, all we're doing is Zachary's gonna come back and get the same an extension of the special use permit, which, as again, we've always granted, we've never not granted an extension unless the world would change incredibly, which it hasn't in any way about that. So that's a pure, that and Town and Lucas or whatever are just extensions of Download is a completely different thing, but they're relatively easy matter of right special use permits. And then,
Do the seeker when we do extensions?
what's that?
Do we need to do the seeker or any of that when we do extensions like this?
I don't believe that we do because,
I don't think so.
we
Already-
don't carry it. Because it's just, they're asking to extend the special use
Right.
permit. I would say that if there's any question about it, it's taken care of by going, has any of the information that you put on the secret changed? And if they say no.
Okay.
They say, oh yeah, wait a minute, we're using a lot more power, that'd be another thing, as an example.
Right.
But I think that I'll be asking, has any information on the original application or the secret changed? If it hasn't changed, if they said all of a sudden, well, yeah, we decided to make the addition bigger, or we did something, that would be different.
Okay.
I think that's how we'll handle it. And when you look at the city, which is on the other side of the agenda, we're not actually going to hear this because not only isn't one required, I do not believe we're allowed to grant an extension because I don't think we can actually grant one. So the goal is to get out of here at 7:15. No, that's not gonna
I'm
happen,
holding you to that.
but that's not gonna happen. But anyway, do people have any questions? We still have 10 minutes, so do people have questions on any of them? Does anybody have a question on, just to be clear, on the first one, the little addition? Anybody have any question about that at all? Okay. Should I be concerned about, I'm gonna tell them that there are only 4 of us, but I don't think it's gonna, they need 3 positive votes, and I'm not asking for your decision, but I mean, I don't see any issues.
I would just make sure they
Oh, I'm gonna make-
understand.
yeah, oh, I'm
that
going
They
to.
need
But-
3 positives.
But I think that we can maybe give them some reassuring comments before we vote. Perhaps, or something.
Ron, do you have the new way documents that I
Yeah,
can
and
pick out?
you can have mine, which is, I did bring with me. Let's see. This is, yeah, I brought them, and you had,
I have
there's this.
I have that one.
No, I know, but I have the other one also. Here's me,
Perfect, thank you.
right, and that's me. So we'll have to share that. All right. And do people have any questions, or do you guys? Not just the board, on any of these?
No, just that we can successfully do the hybrid upstairs.
Yeah.
By the way, we got 5 minutes, 5:00. That's slow.
Oh, that's so. I have 6.
6:00.
Joe, are we staying on this or are we jumping on a different link? Do you know?
I'll have to get out, so we don't have to- We're gonna have to sign off and pull you back on.
She does or doesn't? They have to sign out.
Yeah, it's just 'cause we'll sign after this. When it says, talking to the studio. Do we bring the camera? No, they have the camera up there. Oh, there's no. We should probably let Kelly know that she's got something out. She's gonna. Okay.
You have no connection real estate. To this. I don't think so. Yeah, you do.
I don't think I have a
Oh,
phone
no.
number.
We're in the
Wanting to go up, I can stay still. This will reset. Cause we had to move,
Yeah, by the way.
Beth had to move that table out
My
of the
firm
way.
is representing the seller. Should I have that?
I don't know if we sent that back.
That's good, yeah.
Well,
It's a good idea.
we should put the table in.
Make money. Yeah. Well,
With a
We
computer
can't.
table.
Yeah,
No, not that.
So,
I did
Computer tables in
look
the
this
other
over
corner.
already when we got it before, but I don't remember.
yeah, yeah.
It's been a month, it's exited my brain.
And I'm gonna stop YouTube. And recording, but I'll see